Hi there everybody, it's independent demonstrator Halsey here from slimandstylish.com. Just getting everything lined up and ready. Sunday YouTube Live. Yay! Quite surprised. Normally it takes me a couple of efforts to try and get in and it says no connection and kicks me back out. Currently it's working, so not only am I a bit surprised, I'm a bit doubtful. How are all your Sundays going? Hopefully they're going okay. So today I have a bag and it's tied up with a little tag on the front, and inside there is a tiny little box that matches. I haven't yet decided what I'm going to put in my box. Hiya Sophie! Oh no! Oh dear. Toothache. Ugh. Don't eat anything too chewy. Soup for toothache, isn't it? I'm using, by the way, Dressed to Impress today. Sophie, thought you'd be quite happy. Got the Dressed to Impress papers and stamp set. Thought of you when I was thinking which set to choose. And Karen, I did my prototype in poppies because I thought of you with the prototype. See? Got everyone covered. So it's a little bag. I think it's quite cute, and it's got this little box with it, and the box has got a reinforced lid. So, oh, well done on finding your journal pens. I've just used mine, look. There. I've created a little instructions for me and everybody else who's following, so that if I rush along while making my bag or my box, all of the information's there. So you can use a 6" by 12" piece of DSP for this bag, but I've decided to use, hiya Steph, I've decided to use two 6" by 6" DSPs, purely because you get a lot of 6" by 6" paper packs, and also in the new catalogue there's going to be 6" by 6" papers, so I thought it's quite handy to see that you can make 3D projects with them, and I've chosen this one because I think it's gorgeous, from Dressed to Impress. And the matching cardstock that I'm using is Mossy Meadow because I don't use it enough. Hiya Colleen, good morning to you. It's almost bedtime for us soon. I had a real lazy morning this morning, Karen. You messaged me and I was actually still asleep, so very lazy. But it's been a lazy day. That's what Sundays are all about, isn't it? Yeah, so I'm using Mossy Meadow because I have a whole pack of Mossy Meadow and I've hardly used it, and it's a really nice colour, so I'm using that. And this is the sheet I'm using, and it's quite nice because when I bend it over, the colours are going to match, so I'm quite happy with that. And as I said, all of the scores and all of the sizes are here today, so that if I get confused along the way, you've got them all written on the side. Using the journaling pens, yay! The only thing I will just mention when you are doing it is just down here on the box lid, I've put 7 5/8" by 4 7/8". Oh, good morning, Norma from California. Hello. You just want to go just over because the lid just wants to fit on top, so you don't want it exactly the same. It's not a measurement like a full measurement. It is just a tiny little bit over, and I'll explain to you when we get there. But we're going to start off with the bag. Bag's quite nice and simple. You just want the full 6" of both sheets of paper, and your scoreboard or your scoring tool, your trimmer, whichever you're using. So I'm using my scoreboard because, you know, it's massive and takes up all my desk, and that's more fun for me. Oh, thanks Colleen. Do you know why? I was getting all of my retired papers out the other day, and this will be retired with the new catalogue, and as I was putting it to the side I thought I've got to use the purples, so I used this one and then thought this one was like it, and that's why when I saw this I couldn't believe that I hadn't used it in any projects because it's gorgeous. So you want it up whichever way you're going to use it. I'm actually going to put the perfume bottles upside down so that when I bend, if you see what I mean, when I get to the top of the bag I've actually bent it back on itself. So when I bend it back on itself, I'm going to want the perfume bottles up the right way and not on their head. So to do that, I'm going to pop the perfume bottles over this side. Okay, so if you've got DSP that is running in a different way, just follow me with where your tops and your bottoms is, and hopefully I shouldn't get you too wrong. So this is going to be, well, we'll do the length first, then it'll be easy for me, because, you know, the length, 1/4 of an inch. Don't ignore me, ignore me. I wrote that down, and it's 1 1/4 inches. I knew writing it down was going to be a good idea. Two seconds, me and my head. It's 1/4 of an inch at a start and 2 1/4 inches. I feel this is going like last week. Does anyone else? And then the length is 1 1/4 inches on the bottom and 5 1/4 inches on top. So 1 1/4 inches at the bottom. Flip the paper over and 1/4 of an inch at the top. So let me show you how that will look when you fold that back over. Did I say the perfume bottles were going to be up the right way? It is. It's going to be just like last week, I can tell. 5 1/4, 1 1/2. This is why live crafting is just unpredictable. Unpredictable. And then on this side, it's 1/4 of an inch, tiny little bit at this side, and 2 1/4. Right, so let me show you how it will look on this one, and then we can play with the other one, and we can get it right on the other one. So that's the big bit at the bottom, and this is the bit that's going to be bending back on itself at the top. There we go. They're the right way around this time. Right, so talking it through, width-wise, that's 1/4 of an inch, and that is 2 1/4 inches. At the top, that's folding back over, and that is your 3/4 of an inch at the top. So this here is your 1 1/4 inch, and this here is at 5 1/4 inches. So we're going to do it properly on the next piece of paper. We are, she says. Okay, so lengthwise first, 1 1/4, 5 1/4. Turn it round and do it widthways. 1/4 of an inch and 2 1/4 of an inch. Okay. Yay! Makes me happy that I got it right on one sheet. So I came off last week's live. I really enjoyed it actually. I had so much fun. And then someone said, how did it go? And I went, oh, it was a nightmare. I was fingers and thumbs all the way through. I hope that doesn't happen again. And look what's happened. But yeah, so when it fits together, it will make your box or your bag all the way around. So when you cut the pieces, I'm going to give you all just a couple of seconds to sort of catch up with that. And I'm sorry, I missed the one off there. But as you can see, we'll create the bag all the way around, and this will fold over. I didn't have the problem with the right up and the right down earlier because it was DSP that could be used either way. And then I confused myself with it, as well as getting the measurements wrong. Anyway, enough excuses. It was bad. So where you've notched over here, you just want to cut off that little triangle there. Okay, keep it straight at the top and angled there. And exactly the same here. Angled there. Oh, you can angle at the bottom down here. That doesn't matter. So the big bit you can angle. The small bit must be straight. And I'm using fuse, and I'm just going to run it across here. And stick that down so it lays flush, and then I'm just going to go over the score lines again. Okay, at the bottom here on this bit, you just want to notch that piece out. It doesn't have to be straight up, you can actually notch into it so it makes you just a little bit of a tag. And the same on that side. And then you want to mimic it on the other sheet. So little tag at the bottom and straight down there. Stick this bit down. And join that across there. So are you having good America? Are you having good weather over in America at the moment? We were having lovely weather this week, and this morning it was ridiculously warm, but it's gone a bit cloudy now, so I think we might have a storm later. It was very warm this morning. I have a little tortoise, and he has been loving the hot weather. He's been out sunbathing in it every day. It's really cute. So there we go, your 2 pieces for your bag. And that's how they should look when laid out. Is it easier to see it that way maybe? Sunny but a bit cool. I like that. I like seeing the sun, but if it's too hot, I'm not a hot person, I'm a jumper person. But then I'll complain all winter that it's too cold, so really there's no pleasing me. Bit of Tombow. So I'm using Tombow just because it's really easy to move around when I make a mistake, because I'm predicting, funnily enough, that I might make a mistake. And I'm just going to stick that tab onto the larger section of this bit. I'm just going to give that a couple of seconds just to stick. Hiya, Ivy. Hope you're okay. I was going to message you this week when I saw that Seaside Notions is remaining in the new catalogue. I was going to message you and tell you that Steve was staying. For those who haven't watched all my YouTube videos, if we use an animal set, I like to name the animal, and then Ivy keeps track of all the names that I call them. Seaside Notions is my favourite set, and I called the seahorse Stevie. Oh, it's always changing in Chicago. Chicago always sounds like such a fun place. There we go. Box is all done. Have a look at either side and see which side you prefer as the front. I prefer this side because the tag finishes on the edge, whereas here it finishes on the front. See? So I've got a little gap there, whereas here I haven't. So I'm going to use this as the front, and therefore put both the wings in. And this bit here will be the last bit down. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of fuse along the edge of it. I'm going to have a TripAdvisor view of Chicago later. Have a look. I'm learning so much from my PC at the moment. You can do a virtual tour of all of our palaces and everything. Yeah. I was looking at that the other night. I thought, oh, I can go around Buckingham. So there's my bag, and all I did to finish it was just push in the sides like that. Don't worry that this doesn't meet the other end. It won't. It'll only meet halfway. So when you actually come to put the glue on it, don't cover the whole flap, otherwise the little gap you'll have in the middle will be gluey at the bottom. You just want to cover the edge of it so it sticks nicely. And that's how I created the bag. Move on to the box. How are you doing, Karen? Are you keeping time? If so, just let me know if you're ready for me to go onto the box or any help on the bag. She hasn't messaged. She might probably got her hand stuck with the glue inside. Okay. You did them both the same? Well, that was okay. And then if you're doing them both... Oh, so you have two different sides. Oh, well done, Clever Clogs. Sorry. But at least it'll look different. You'll have two different bags that way, won't you? Depending which way it is. Positive to everything. So for the box base, you want your cardstock cut at 6 1/4 inches. And 5 1/4 inches. And this one's dead simple when you're scoring. You just want to score all the way around at 1 3/4 inches. So you just keep turning your cardstock. I like it when it's this. This is just easy for me. 1 3/4 inches. I don't want to be all, you know, blasé and say, well, you can't get into trouble when you use 1 3/4 inches all the way around, because if there's one person who will, it'll be me. But yeah, I do like it when it's the measurements all the way around. I bet it is. You hear of it so many times. I don't want to really like get into like sporting politics, but isn't there a really good basketball team in Chicago? Is that what I'm thinking of? Going to have all American demonstrators now commenting, going, no, it's not as good as ours. I'm sure there is. Something really big in Chicago, isn't there? One of the sporting teams, I think. Probably sounding really dumb with my lack of knowledge. I'm going to TripAdvisor it for next week, and I'm going to be fully cultured so I know everything that's happening there. So with this one, once you've done it, I'm going to burnish it and then cut round all of the wings. So once you've cut that one, turn it straight up there, but tab in on the outside one. Oh, that comment went too quick. I love the Chicago and then I missed the end of it. It's the fun of the lives. I'm so busy trying to watch the comments, and if I miss one... So if anyone says hello and I miss you, I'm sorry. Let's just keep cutting and turning. So that once you've got it, each bit should then fold into the little box like that. because then it's just sticking them all down. I'm going to use Fuse again just because it's quicker. There is, for anyone who's on here that's not a demonstrator and hasn't seen the new catalogue, there is going to be a new, sorry, spoiler alert, type of Fuse idea where it's a bit stronger than snail and it will be better for cardstock. So we're getting something like that back. Yay! We had an incentive probably about 2 years ago where if you bought one Fuse you got 2 refills free. And then everyone wondered why it sold out really quick. It was because I went on and like, whoa! I love Fuse. I think it's amazing. And then it was on the clearance rack when it went. And so I bought it again then. So I've still got quite a bit. I don't use it for general cards and things, but I do really enjoy it when I'm doing 3D projects because it sticks really well, but it's quite quick for filming. So I'm glad something like that's coming back again. See, stuck really quick. And it's not, well, that's not falling apart. And the reason why I tabbed the wings round, so you've got a wing on every side, is it's reinforced each side of the box. So that is a really sturdy little box there. I haven't worked out what to put in it yet. I don't think I'm going to be playing with sweets again, even though, check this out. Got it here on the side. I did not eat the chocolate from last week. I know, I went and bought 2 new ones to put in the boxes so I could give them out, and then put that one on the side, and it's still there. Willpower. So that is the base of the box. For the top, we're going to need to be cutting it again. But this is where I mean just over. So when you're balancing on your 5 7/8 of an inch, literally just go over so it's in between. Let me show you. There's the 5 7/8. You just want to go sort of where the 15 is on our metric one, just in between the two. And then when you do the 4 7/8, you kind of want to go 12.5 actually if you metric. It's just over. Oh, the balls were good at one time. Trying to read that now. That's why the screen's wobbling, because I tried to grab it and that didn't work. I will read back. So 5 7/8, just there. And thought there was some sort of team from Chicago. And 4 7/8. Like I said, it's just over. And then that way it just gives you that wiggle room on the top of the lid. So it's just over. It's not enough to give you another measurement up, but it is enough just to put it up. Oh yes, Colleen, the new adhesive. I've put it on my wish list, but I can't wait to play with it and see how it is. There's no right or wrong with how you score or cut this. It can be any which way round. So I'm not going to go wrong. Well, let me score it and then I'll tell you I'm not going to go wrong. You want to score it at 3/4 of an inch, and you also want to score it at 1.5 inches, okay? All the way round. I have made a bit of a fatal error with this. When I film and I'm scoring and cutting, I do like to generally use lighter colours so I can show you where I'm cutting. It never seems to show up quite as well on dark colours, so I do apologise. I'm just going to burnish all of that. Colleen, you made me really laugh when you did the box from last week and you put it on Instagram. One of my crafting friends and I, we have a bit of a disagreement over that set. It was the birthday delivery set, I think it was. And when that first came out, she hated it and I fell in love with it. Different people like different things, don't they? But she really disliked it, and it was first on my must get list. And I used it straight away with the ribbons and everything else, and she messaged back, I'm sorry, I really just don't like it. And even to today, whenever we look through catalogues, whenever we talk about anything, we always go back to that. So when you use that set, I was like, yes, someone else who loves it. Because I thought that was one of the best sets they did. I was really happy that you'd used that one. It made me smile. So when you're going around on this one, these outside bits, so you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes across. These outside 2, they need to stay, but they need to be tabbed. So if I just do one side for you and show you. So it needs to be tabbed in like that, and then these 2 little boxes here can come off completely. Okay, and the same on this end. So it's like that. It'll fit onto your box, sort of, like that. Okay. So then you want to do exactly the same on these 2 edges. Take them in, chop the little squares off. It's kind of pretty like that, doesn't it? I quite like it. You could do a card with that sort of layout on it, it'd look quite nice. So then these here, these little squares, they're going to be your tabs. So you just want to tab them. So I'm going to do them the same way I normally do. So you cut just a little bit off that side and a little bit off this way. And I'm actually going to do it so it's back round and you have a little tab each way. I don't know why I like doing this. On smaller ones, it definitely doesn't strengthen it. But I like having one tab on each section. There we go. Before you stick it down, you want to decide which type of ribbon you want. So if I use this one earlier, which is the vintage trim, and I coloured it with my blends, shock horror, and I'm going to do exactly the same now. So I'm just going to grab a scrap piece of paper. There we go. And I want it to be longer than the full length of the box, probably by ½ an inch more. Okay, I'm just going to colour it. I'm going to stick with Mossy Meadow. I like Mossy Meadow. It's one of those colours I never use, but I do actually really like it. I think it's because it's dark and I normally try and sit with the pastel colours. But I do like Mossy Meadow. There we go. So yeah, I normally do that with the ribbon that's got the tinsel at the bottom. Yes, Norma, it would. That would work perfectly if you had the ink pad. Because I used to do this. I used to just drop it in and then turn it over. If you miss a bit, the bit that's on your scoring tool, oh, you know this bit here with the nice little knobble on the end, that's not as harsh as the it's not as harsh as the paper piercer, I've got the word, and you can just use that and just rub it in if you wanted to. And if you've got the re-inker, even better, just drop a bit of re-inker in here and you can mix it together. So yeah, you can do that without the blends, and you can even use the Stampin' Right markers to colour your ribbon. No issue with that. So once you've got it where you want it, and I think I want it there, because I'm one of these people that very rarely put ribbon in the middle of things. Very rarely. Pop yourself some fuse. You can use your grid paper to line this up. I'm just being awkward and just rushing through it. So it runs across your box like that. And these are going to bend in so it really reinforces the lid, so the DSP is really thick. So to do that, I'm just going to pop snail all the way across the top flaps. And then fold them in and fold the top over. Making sure it's stuck down like really good, otherwise it'll wiggle. It's a bit fiddly, but that's what makes it fun, right? There we go. So that fits on there just nicely. Okay, to decorate it, I used a little bit more of the trim. So what I did is I cut myself 2 little lengths of it off. Just tapered in the edge. That one's already done. Coloured them in. What I like about the ribbon, colouring the ribbon and the trims, the difference is when I do the vintage trim, I don't really care if I've got all of it. You know, it's okay if it's like that because it is vintagey. Whereas when I colour in the ribbon, I like to get the whole ribbon covered and be the same colour. Just because I'm awkward. And then am I going to do some stamping on there? I think I will. So I'm using Dress to Impress. And I think just put this flower on. Out you come. Grab myself a block. And some memento. Yeah, good choice, like that. Colour those bits in with the Mossy Meadow. And then I've also got Blackberry Bliss and Mango Medley. So I'm going to drop the Mango Medley in the middle. I'm using that with the dark. And look how messy I'm being with this. I think these flowers are, whereas I coloured this one in really nicely because to me it's quite a sharp flower. To me this one I see is just it's nice to get it a bit off centre. I'm trying to think of the word. It's not a messy flower, but it's not a It's not a you have to colour perfect flower either, I don't think. Which is why I think on the set it actually has these smudges to go. Smudgy flower. We'll call it that. There are matching dies to go with this, but I never thought about using it, so I didn't get the big shot out. And I can just cut around it quickly. Plus the fact I went through a whole panic of losing dies last week, and I don't know whether I can really handle that again. There we go. So I'm going to pop on the back of this a bit of fuse. Put my tails on. And then a dimensional. Pop it onto the box. To finish off the bag, I'm going to make a tag. So I use this tag here. This is from the Good Morning Magnolia set, the Hello, because the Poppies hasn't got the sentiments with it unless you have the additional stamp set, which I do not. So, piece of Whisper White, throwing everything around. And you want this at 2 inches wide to fit into the tag topper punch. Tag topper. You can use any of our tag toppers for this. Or if you don't have one, I'll show you what you can do if you don't have one. You can have your paper and just knock off the edges. I know it's probably going to be thinner than that, but when it's thinner than that, you'd have that on both sides. And then just use a hole punch, or if you've got just a paper piercer, you can pop this on some foam and use your paper piercer down. Lots of different ways, but the tag toppers are pretty. So stick this DSP here with the little bit of DSP that was on the side of that 6x6. We cut it at 4 7/8 of an inch, so this here is 1 1/8 of an inch that's left from the side. And I'm just going to stick it onto my tag. I'm just going to leave a little gap at the bottom. Oh, what I did do first was I actually added some trim underneath, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I forgot about that. I did like putting the trim on. So some snips. And bring my scrap through and colour it again. I actually sat the other night and I'd done a card. There's a lady up the street that's pregnant, and they had a gender reveal the other night, really cute with the social distancing. Everyone was out in the street and they had balloons and they popped them at a distance and you could see the pink confetti going up, and we saw it from our window and we thought, oh, so I made them a card that was all pink. And I use this trim because I think it's lovely, and instead of having it with the dark colour, I decided to use the reinkers that we have, add some water to them, drop the ribbon in and actually dye it properly. And then when I assembled the card, I looked at it and I'd made the whole card using Melon Mambo and then had dyed it lovely lipstick. And you wouldn't have thought it made that much of a difference. I could see it, and it was really bugging me. I get a little bit of OCD with things like that, so I had to very quickly post it through the door before I took it back and redid it all. So I'm just going to stick the trim onto the DSP and then stick the DSP to the tag. I put loads of Wink Stella over it, hoping that the glitter would detract. I bet people who didn't know our colours probably wouldn't have noticed it. They'd have just looked and thought, oh, it's different pinks. But I noticed, and I weren't happy. I was having a little sulk. So I'm going to do the hello on this one. Am I going to do the whole Hello Fabulous? I think I am. That little ding is my work phone. And you know, we work Monday to Fridays, and they said when we started working from home, they said, oh, will I have all of the phone calls routed through to me that normally come in on the landline, and can I answer them? They shouldn't imagine there'll be that many, because obviously everyone's on lockdown. So I was like, yeah, that's fine. So they got me a work phone. And you know, people get in touch at the weirdest of times. I mean, what time is it now? Sort of 4:30 on a Sunday afternoon, and we're a Monday to Friday 9 till 5 thing. And it was ringing the other morning at stupid o'clock. And normally I put it on silence, but sometimes I obviously forget because it's me and I'm scatty. And I sit looking at it thinking, who are you expecting to answer at this time? All good fun. So the top of the bag has just got a little piece of ribbon through it. So that's about 5 inches long. So I'm just going to cut myself some ribbons, and then I'll show you how you put it together. I'm not going to put my flower on here because I've already got a big flower on the corner. So, colour in the trim again. Oh, Irene, if you're still on the call, I'll do it with the ink pad. I think I will. I can't remember where I put the ink pad. So you can run it over like that, and it will colour it. Or if you find it's not colouring it enough, and it's not because it's missing in some places, like I said, just grab the ball, run it through. Only lightly, but you're just pushing it down lightly into the ink, and that will work as well. It will work better on normal ribbon than on the vintage trim, because you do have to do the scallops over, but like I said, it'll work. And then if you want it on both sides, just flip it and do it again. But yeah, don't use your paper pierce, or otherwise you'll really ruin your pad. You just want to do it lightly with your bit, so that will work like that. Oh, don't stick your hand in it. But yeah, so there we go. Trim. Oh look, it looks like my hand's gone mouldy now. Good old Mossy Meadow. So for the bag, I'm actually using my this is Fiskars. You haven't seen this. This is contraband. It's not our Stampin' Up one, but we don't do them for Stampin' Up anymore. So, and they're so handy. So I'm just going to pop a little hole in on each side, and I've just guessed that they're in the middle, and actually pretty spot on. So pop your box in. It should just fit in widthways quite nicely, which it does. The lid's just come off. There we go. Push it in. The best way of working with the vintage trim is to just use this thick bit to push it through, because otherwise it's going to be all bitty. So angle it with a thick bit on the end and use that to go through. Pop your tag on. And then just tie it in a knot. If you want your tag to be fixed to the bag, so the hole is always there, you can do, and you can pop a dimensional down the bottom to keep it in place, either have it at the side or loose. I've just had mine loose and I've popped it into a little knot. And what's nice with the vintage trim is it will hold with just a little knot in there. Rather than a massive bow. And so that's my one bag using the Dress to Impress suite, and the next one using painted poppies. I'm not sure which is my favourite, but I'm really glad I've decided to go with the purple flowers today. I just couldn't let that paper go. It was so beautiful, and I can't believe I've had it since January and hadn't used it. It doesn't seem right. There we go. Pop your little tie in there. There's both bags with the boxes. What are you going to put in the boxes? I suppose you could put little sweets in, but like I said, I'd eat those. Or jewellery, you could put jewellery in that. Oh, you like both, Ivy? Yeah. Well, you're purple, Ivy, aren't you? And they're both purple, so I suppose they're your colours. I quite like this one actually, but then I quite like this one too. I can't make my mind up. But hopefully if you crafted along. Karen, how's yours looking? You're going to send me a picture. Anyone who's done one, please do send me a picture. Let me see how you're doing. Colleen, let's see what paper you're using this week. So see if it makes me smile again. It really did. I really laughed out loud when I saw that you'd used that paper, and I actually print screened it and sent it off to my friend who I go to different events with and put, look, everyone else loves the paper, it's just you. So, oh, you use Pool Party and Petal Pink. They go nicely together, Karen. Good idea. But yeah, so thanks for joining me. I will put my thinking cap on for next Sunday. If there's anything you want to see, any ideas you've got, just drop them in. This one was for Sophia because she had the Dress to Impress suite. So I had that on my mind when I made it. But anyone, just drop me a message. Let me know what sort of things you want me to play with. What sort of things you want me to make. And I'll have a go. Don't make them overly complicated. We've seen how I cope with complicated. And I hope this helped being on the side here, but I will just take a picture of this and pop it over on my YouTube page. Over on my Facebook page. So find me Slim and Stylish UK and you can find it on there. Speak to you all soon. Bye.